therefore strengthening the national system to bring services closer to the people, especially those at the grassroots, is a key responsibility of the government. This is in line with the WHO standards on provision of sound, effective and efficient healthcare delivery system, conceived on the bedrock of economic growth and development. Now, the place of primary health care becomes the most crucial stage, as it is the first level of contact at the community level, bringing health care closer to people at the grassroots, where minor health challenges can degenerate to life-threatening ailments unless detected early and treated, or referred to a specialist or teaching hospital as part of the drive to achieve universal healthcare coverage. However, this subsector has suffered some setbacks over the years, with deplorable human and infrastructural neglect. But relief came in 2017 with the federal government's intervention on revitalizing the subsector through 4 key goals, namely to revitalize, close out polio in the shortest possible time, revamping immunization, good governance and accountability. With this, the primary healthcare subsector had a new lease of life with accessibility and delivery of key components of healthcare delivery at the grassroots. Despite these achievements, some say a lot still needs to be done to enable the subsector attract the full attention from all stakeholders. Some have raised questions on the parameters for evaluating it against the barriers still experienced in the way of full implementation of the revitalization program. These and more are on the lineup for discussion tonight with my guest, Senator Ibrahim Olerigbe, Chairman, Senate Committee on Health, who is joining us via Zoom, and Dr. Isaac Abuja, Public Health Specialist on federal government's primary health care program, the issues and the gaps. The program is week and file on the network service of the NTA. I am Jummai Yusuf. First, the news. The successful completion of the 2023 elections in the country clearly shows that African nations can peacefully handle their destiny. This was when he paid a farewell visit to President Muhammadu Buhari on completion of his tour of duty in Nigeria. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the details.
The Rwandan diplomat Stanislas Kamanzi congratulated President Muhammadu Buhari for keeping to his promise of ensuring free, fair and transparent elections, stating emphatically that he is happy for Nigeria. Mr. Kamanzi said he is going back to his country with a high sense of fulfillment after his 8-year tenure, having registered assurances that Nigeria is a friendly country and in full of expectations that his successor will build on his accomplishments. President Buhari felicitates with the outgoing diplomat on his very successful tour of duty, during which substantial progress has been made in the Nigeria-Rwanda relations. The President and the High Commissioner noted the highly beneficial ties in the area of aviation, with Rwandan airline operating 8 weekly flights to Lagos and 5 to Abuja, and the progress towards the Nigeria-Rwanda Joint Commission, which has been signed and soon to be inaugurated. On the uncommon coincidence of the High Commissioner and himself coming in 8 years ago and leaving about the same time, President Buhari said, "You saw us coming in and you are about to see us leaving." He, however, said on coming to power in 2015, the Northeast was a big problem. The Lake Chad was much affected by climate change and the neighboring regions were experiencing a turbulence. The President described as pleasing the progress made in normalizing the situations, especially at this time. The outgoing High Commissioner thanked the Nigerian government officials for creating a true spirit of mutual cooperation without any artificial barriers that enabled him to make a success of his stay in the country. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Nigeria has been receiving accolades in the United States since Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed began his engagement with the international media and think tank institutions shortly after the 2023 elections. From Washington, D.C. in the United States, Anthony Fossen tells us more.
From the media organizations to the think tanks he engaged with, it became bare that it is only obvious to listen to the two sides of a story before passing a judgment. Here at Hudson Institute, the audience listened carefully with rapt attention. Even when in doubt, they posed questions for clarification, which Lai Mohammed responded to.
I see the incoming president-elect as a very competent, leader, and not just because he's from my party, but because I served as his chief of staff.
Even when in doubt, they posed questions for clarification, which Lai Mohammed responded to. In the end, this is their impression.
We know there were issues. We know there was low turnout, but the minister gave us, I think, a fair view of some of the positive points.
Very positive. He shared a lot of insight that we would not have received otherwise. So I enjoyed it. It was very edifying.
Where are the women? What are the women having to say about that? And what does the diaspora has to say? The Nigerians who are in the diaspora, what do they really have to say? So there's a lot of work ahead. Let's don't try to cover that up. Nigeria is the giant of Africa. Come on. Nigeria is supposed to be leading Africa. Nigeria is supposed to be telling Kenya and South Africa and other countries what to do about some of these issues, and I'm afraid it's not happening. So I love Nigeria. I'm looking forward to I'm going back at the end of this month.
We congratulate Nigeria and the Nigerian people for these successful, peaceful elections, and we look forward to working with the new government to further strengthen the relationships between Morocco and Nigeria.
Fulai Mohammed, does he feel fulfilled?
They genuinely are interested in development in Nigeria, and I am glad that it was a good platform to also give the true narrative about what happened in Nigeria. And I think it well went down with them.
The minister is about rounding up his engagements in the United States. From Washington, D.C., Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Now let's bring you up to speed with other news. President Muhammadu Buhari has condemned the recent killings in Benue State, in which many people were killed in Umogidi community of Etepa Adoka in Oktukpo local government area of the state, urging that all efforts must be made to end the extreme violence. The president condemned the use of terrorism as a tool in intercommunal conflicts, urging that the attackers be found and dealt with swiftly under the law. He conveyed his grief and sympathy to the family of those who lost their lives due to the attack, and directed the Secret Service, police and military commanders to enhance surveillance on every front and to immediately review the security management in the affected areas. Now, the most hated of all things which Allah has permitted to Muslims is divorce, which is why efforts must be made by all parties to maintain the marriage through patience, perseverance and obedience to Islamic tenets. These and others are among issues discussed by the Chief Imam of Al-Furqan Jumat Mosque, Kano, Associate Professor Bashir Aliu Umar, during the 17th annual Ramadan lecture organized by NTA, FRCN, VON and MBC in Kaduna. Daudo Mohammed reports that the topic of this year's lecture is on divorce and its consequences.
Research has shown that some states in northern Nigeria have more than 1 million registered divorcees, an alarming dimension that has contributed to societal ills and high level of poverty. This negative trend and its implication on the society prompted the choice of the topic of the 17th annual Ramadan lecture organized by NTA, FRCN, VON and MBC.
Lecture has offered ways of preventing the prevalence of divorce, one of the most important of which couples need to be well educated in the jurisprudence of marriage and divorce.
The public lecture was interactive and featured goodwill messages from the Emir of Zazo, Malam Ahmad Nuba Mali, Dr. Abdullah Nazir Abdullahi, representatives of the Directors General of NTA, FRCN, VON, and the Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC.
In our emirates here, almost every day we have issues, pertaining matrimonial issues. We don't have a court, but we always handle such matters under the auspice of alternative dispute resolution.
Divorce is not the only solution, because once you divorce, you have a lot of issues that maybe might come that you can see the divorce was not actually called for.
NBC, that is National Broadcasting Commission, NTA, FRCN, Voice of Nigeria, are determined not only to sustain such lectures, but to drive conversations that will foster unity and peace in our country.
We are going to go back to the drawing board and talk about this issue until we see that we minimize the barest minimum.
Our major takeaway is for all stakeholders within the Muslim community, the ulamas, the traditional rulers, and everybody should start reflecting and come up with novel solutions.
We often lament about the problems of Nigeria, that we are divided, but nobody talks of why the division is coming from. It starts from the family.
Future presentations should be made in Hausa, because majority of our listeners do understand Hausa, even if they do understand English.
Chairman of the occasion, former DG NTA FRCN, Malam Muhammad Ibrahim, attributed most issues of divorce to ignorance of Islamic tenets.
A seminar like this can bring a lot of understanding to Islamic marriage.
The annual Ramadan lecture organized by the NTA, FRCN, Voice of Nigeria and MDC, apart from educating and enlightening the Muslim Ummah, is also a veritable melting point of instruction for the past, present and future leaders of the society. In Kaduna, Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
Ramadan coincides with Easter this season, availing some Muslim and Christians the opportunity to interact, dialogue and exchange goodwill messages of peace and unity of the country. One of such platforms was a joint iftar ceremony, the breaking of fast, held in Abuja and attended by religious groups, civil society organizations, actors, media practitioners and business leaders. Tope Alabi tells us more.
Nigeria's just concluded 2023 general election was not without challenges, some arising from divisive tendencies of religious and ethnocentric considerations, which degenerated to unguided statements in many quarters and threatened the peace and unity of the country. This is one of the reasons Connected Development Code is initiating this roundtable dialogue tagged Faith Talk, We Are One, to make a statement that fractionalizing the country along tribal, ethnic, geopolitical or religious lines does not augur well for peace, tolerance and nation building.
That we must de-escalate this tension, we must preach peace and unity and integrate more as a people, that what unites us is greater than what divides us.
Well, I think God is doing a fantastic job, because everything that you see in life begins with a conversation.
Both religion respects and honors unity rather than diversity.
We must desist from using ethnocentric statements to divide the people.
There is nobody that is more Nigerian than any Nigerian.
As a show of unity, both Muslims and Christians jointly observed the breaking of Ramadan fast for the day with prayers and exchange of pleasantries. In Abuja, Tope Alabi, NTA News.
To other matters now, Borno State Governor Babagana Umara Zulum has flagged off construction of second flyover bridge in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, with a commitment to provide more dividends of democracy to the citizenry. The governor also performed groundbreaking ceremony for the building of 72 units of houses at Metro Police Ground for federal civil servants. Mohammed Goni reports.
Situated along Kano Road, adjacent Borno Express terminus, the second overpass, otherwise called flyover, is part of Governor Zulum's infrastructure development in Borno State.
I want to also plead to you to ensure that a very good quality of work is being done here. We shall ensure prompt release of funds as when due. Inshallah, Borno State under the next phase of our dispensation provide more dividend of democracy to the people of the state.
Commissioner for Works Issa Garba Halidu said the 600-meter flyover starts before the welcome to Maiduguri and extends towards Federal Secretariat and the Kano Motor Park. The commissioner who announced cost of the project to the tune of 5.48 billion naira, also assured commitment of the contractors to complete the project within stipulated period of 6 months. Meanwhile, Governor Bagana Umar Zulum also performed groundbreaking ceremony for construction of 72 units of houses at Metropolis Ground as part of Borno State's urban renewal project.
In the next phase of our own administration, we intended to construct many houses in Borno State. We are very much aware of the existence of police personnel in this ground. Let us ensure that adequate provision will be made to all the police officers and men that are residing in all the barracks in Maiduguri.
The governor noted that befitting alternative ground will be provided for the youth who use the ground for football and other recreational activities. Commissioner for Housing and Energy, Yuguda Saleh Bunga, said it is one of the 16 housing projects approved by the Borno State Executive Council, which also comprise the teachers' quarters and the doctors' quarters built at UMTH. He thanked the governor for securing permission of the police authorities for release of the land for the project. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Koni, NTA News.
We'll take a break now. When we return, more reports. Do stay.
Marshal FR.
You're welcome back. The Nigerian Port Authority has donated ambulances to the Federal Road Safety Commission in Kaduna to promote safety and response on the highway. Haruna Mohammed reports.
This is not the first time the Nigerian Port Authority is assisting the Federal Road Safety Corps in actualization of its core mandate. But this time around, it is the state-of-the-art facility ambulance given to the Kaduna State Command to ensure quick evacuation of accident victims on the highway. A presentation of the state-of-the-art ambulance and the Kaduna Sector Commander of the Corps was there for the Corps Marshal. Acknowledging the gesture, he says the ambulance will be stationed on the Kaduna-Zaria-Kano highway.
As a succor and relief to the victims of road traffic crashes, we sincerely appreciated the Honorable as well as the NTA for giving FRSC this ambulance.
Facilitator of the project and the Nigerian Port Authority charged the beneficiary on purposeful use of the ambulance.
Because anybody can be a victim, regardless. So I think it will help the Federal Road Safety in its duty.
Road Safety Commission to please make use of it as appropriate as possible.
They urge road users to ensure they obey road signs and reduce overspeeding to save lives. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
The management of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, disassociates itself from a fake recruitment website set up by fraudsters. FIRS states that it is not recruiting. The general public is once again cautioned against the activities of these scam artists who employ fake websites to defraud members of the public with recruitment notices. Now, a task force set up by the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel Development in connection with the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has arrested some dredgers in Port Harcourt for alleged illegal operation and non-payment of royalties to the federal government. Diana Kume Ulolo reports.
The raid at the illegal mining site at Elime Akbajo in Rivers State by Joint Task Force on Illegal Mining is in line with the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development's efforts of implementing federal government's order against illegal mining and dredging companies operating without a license. The joint operation at this site, belonging to a Chinese firm, resulted in the arrest of 9 suspected illegal miners who were carrying out illicit activities. Among the 9 apprehended is a lady.
You can see clearly from where we are seeing, even they have left even dredging the sand from the river. They have even gone to the upper land and breaking down the walls, degrading the environment, which is not too good. So that is why we have to at least come here and get them so that they can explain and to tame the tide and send the signals to others.
The task force also seized 2 dredging machines which were taken to the NSCDC exhibit held.
Before you go for mining, they must issue a permit, a license to mine. If you don't have the license to mine, you are not supposed to mine. That's why we went for the arrest. And we also discovered that some foreigners are involved. That's why we are going to involve the Nigerian Immigration Service during the process of investigation to ascertain whether the foreigners are supposed to be in Nigeria or not.
The suspected illegal miners have been handed over to the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps River State Command for further investigation. In Port Harcourt, Yanukume Ulolo, NTA News.
And to drive our conversation on evaluating the revitalization of the primary healthcare, let's take this report. Now, taking cognizance of primary healthcare as the bedrock of any healthcare delivery, the federal government has in the last few years made concerted efforts to reposition the level of care adjudged as the closest to the people. This is in addition to using it as a roadmap towards achieving the 2030 universal health coverage target. In this background report, Oluche Adebo examines state of investment programs and interventions to ascertain quality primary healthcare service delivery in the country.
A planned revitalization of 10,000 primary healthcare centers across the country and one PHC per ward policy, as well as the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, are a series of strategies adopted by the current administration to revitalize the PHCs and healthcare at this level. The commissioning of the Kuchingoro Primary Healthcare Center in the Health City in January 2017 by President Muhammadu Buhari marked the commencement of the primary healthcare revitalization program of the federal government. Central of the federal government's efforts is at the 2022 PHC Summit, where the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo launched a 10-year primary healthcare guideline, standards and regulatory framework to make PHC fully functional in the spirit of achieving universal health coverage.
We have fared fairly well. We have created a new model of the primary healthcare center that allows patients to be able to get access to healthcare 24/7. Private sector health alliance, that concept has also been resonating with them, and they have offered to do 774 primary healthcare centers up to standard level.
The plan seeks to ensure that every PHC center across Nigeria has the full complement of human resources to enable round-the-clock service delivery for basic health care that is accessible to all.
Right now, in terms of functionality, we have close to 6,000 primary healthcare centers. What President Muhammadu Buhari, declared was a collaboration between the federal government, the state government, the local government areas, our donors, partners, and the private sector to come together to carry out this type of massive effort to improve primary health care.
The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, also introduced initiatives such as federal government Excellent Performance Awards to encourage sub-national governments to increase commitment in revamping PHC services.
But for us in FCT, we are going beyond that by also renovating, expanding, upgrading our basic primary health care facility in some rural communities to ensure that people have access to quality health care services.
Sampling the opinions of health watchers come the expectations of more democracy dividends in the health sector and enjoining incoming governments to make a functional primary health care system and achieving universal health coverage a priority. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
And in line with the federal government's drive to achieve universal health coverage to adequately meet the health needs of Nigerians, primary healthcare centers across Lagos State are being revamped. So far, more than 20 of them have been upgraded to global standards. Joe Ken Akwaboyo reports.
Primary health care centers, the first contact at a community level with health facilities, is the most critical stage in healthcare service delivery. At this level, minor health challenges with the potential of becoming life-threatening are detected early and treated. Public sensitization on disease prevention and control, maternal and child care, immunization and mental health care are also handled at this level. To reduce pressure on secondary and tertiary health institutions in Lagos, the government at both the federal and state levels began revamping the more than 280 primary healthcare centers in the state.
My daughter was having a headache, and I was like, okay, let me take her to the healthcare center before I proceed to the hospital. But to my surprise, they did a very good job. They are so friendly. They took proper care of her.
The equipment are okay. So far, so good. We've not had any issues. And the healthcare services is also top-notch.
If you go there, you take your injection, or if you have any vaccine to take, they will tell you, they will mark your card for you, but you have to wait.
While a lot has been done to fortify hitherto moribund primary healthcare facilities in the state, several challenges still need attention.
The biggest challenge that we face at the primary healthcare level is personnel. You know, the government needs to do a lot more work to make working at primary healthcare centers attractive to the healthcare providers.
Respondents further opined that to attain universal health coverage, which is the target, private sector involvement is required. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakuya, NTA News.
And in the studio to talk about the revitalization of primary health care and matters arising is the Chairman, Senate Committee on Health, Senator Ibrahim Olorogbe. He's joining us via Zoom. Okay, right here in the studio is Dr. Isaac Abuja. He's a public health specialist. You're welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, we had some positive, reports from the DG of Primary Healthcare, Dr. Faisal Shaibu, but it's not yet Uhuri. So what are the indicators for evaluating this primary healthcare, and what is the current state of the over 30,000 primary health centers in Nigeria?
Well, the original plan for primary healthcare centers is that the federal government would establish them, construct them. The state governments were supposed to equip them, and the local governments were supposed to provide the staff to man them. In this regard, when you are looking at primary healthcare center, you'll be looking at the infrastructure, the structure itself, the buildings and so on. And then you'll be looking at the staff that are there to render services. And of course, the equipment and drugs with which the services would be rendered. Those are the three basic things that you'll be looking at.
Okay, the three basic areas that we'll be looking at. Now, there must be, barriers, to a functional primary health care system. This is something that has bothered a lot of Nigerians, not getting enough, doctors, nurses, and support, attendants at the primary health centers. And is it a different story now? Do we have more personnel that can attend to people at the grassroots?
Not really. That is still a problem. You just listened to a report of the one in Kuchungaro, very close to Abuja here. That one is functioning well because there are a good number of staff, well trained. The services are always rendered 24 hours around the clock. The equipment with which to work are provided, and therefore that one is functioning very well. And that is the ideal situation or a model for all the others around the country. Ideally, there should be a minimum of one comprehensive health center per council ward. And we have 774 council wards around the country. The number when I say minimum, I mean one per ward. There should be more than that because there are many wards that are very large. The distances are also very large and therefore difficult for people to travel. Ideally, people should be able to have a health center within radius of 5 kilometers from them.
Okay, now one issue at the core of the primary health, care centers in Nigeria is the maternal mortality rate. Women not getting access to nurses or doctors during delivery or during pregnancy, and they end up going to quack, doctors to treat them. And out of 13 women that give birth every day, at least one is lost to maternal mortality. Is the story changing? Is the narrative changing now? Are they getting more access?
Well, yes or no. While in some parts of the country the situation has improved a little bit since the 80s, when the idea of National Primary Healthcare Agency was conceived. However, in some other parts of the country, the situation has not really changed that much. And we are still recording an undesirable number of maternal morbidity and mortality. And that is also accompanied by infant mortality too. Well, let me start like this. The idea is that for basic health care, for simple ailments such as malaria, normal pregnancy, and so on, everybody should be able to access a primary health care. A woman who suspects that she's pregnant should be able to go to a primary health care near her and carry out a test to ascertain if she's really pregnant. And if she is, she's supposed to be regularly, at least once a month, going to the primary health care near her to be checked. And where there's a suspicion or a confirmation of problem, that woman would then be referred to the second level of health, which is secondary health level, which is what we call here general hospitals. And when the problem is more than that level, then it might have to go to a tertiary level, which is the federal medical centers, the teaching hospitals, the specialized hospitals that we have around the country, both public and private. But unfortunately, because of the absence or the inadequacy of primary health care centers around the country, many women don't even have access to basic care. And when they are taken to a hospital, sometimes it is late. They were not seen during pregnancy, or they were seen late into the pregnancy, and therefore the basic things that they were supposed to have been done, they were supposed to have done, had not been done, and therefore the conditions sometimes become so serious that they may lead to death, which is unfortunate. At the moment, we are recording about 800 deaths for every 1,000 live births. And that is a lot of figures. In other words, we are saying for every woman that goes, say, 10 women that go to or get pregnant, one of them will die from a related problem to pregnancy and delivery.
Indeed, that is one area that needs a lot of working on by the health sector itself and stakeholders in the health sector. We'll get to talk more about other issues or matters arising after this break. We'll be right back.
Never again should this happen. We have passed through this path before, and it was not good for us. I remember the horror, the crime, the blood, dead bodies everywhere. I almost lost my mind. I could not sleep. I remember the cry of innocent children. Many lives were changed forever. We shall never go through that path again. Let us all stand in solidarity with our armed forces, our men and women. All who must stand in truth, in honesty, to build a vibrant nation, a nation that you and I can be proud of.
In the heat of the summer, Okada seats feel like hot plates, and Danfo buses feel like extremely hot ovens. Walking on the road feels like walking on hot coals.
How do I cope with this heat?
And how do I cope with that bad odor?
By staying 5 degrees cooler.
Body odor is caused by germs, and on hot days, the sweating and the odor are more. That's why you need to get the new improved Dettol Cool Soap, which offers up to 5 degrees instant cooling sensation and protects you from 99.9% odor-causing germs. Dettol 5-Degree Cool Soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
The new Milo 3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. No need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids.
Helen Paul! Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I have been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To disinfect your toilet, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains removal. Harpic sticker formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning.
Wow! Now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
The next house is yours.
When life gets busy, you can always rely on GoTV to make things a little easier. Upgrade to the next package and we'll boost you to a higher package for free. GoTV. Love it.
Come to the National Center for Women Development, a home away from home. With our beautifully renovated hotel, the center can also boast of a 1,700-seater auditorium for conferences. The edifice has an African, continental, and Arabian restaurants, a daycare creche for nursing mothers. There is also an ICT department for computer training, and also a training department for catering, tailoring, and hairdressing. For more information, please contact the National Center for Women Development, Tafa Balewa Way, opposite the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN headquarters, Central District Area, Abuja. Or telephone 070-511-1163. National Center for Women Development, rebranding, restructuring, and repositioning.
You're welcome back. The federal government, through various interventions to the health sector, has been supporting the sub-nationals to accelerate progress towards achieving universal healthcare coverage. Muhammad Umar Anjiki from Kaduna State tells us more on the efforts of the federal and state governments to ensure that the right facilities and manpower are available to deliver efficient services.
Unlike in the past, many patients in the state say they now prefer going to the nearest primary healthcare center in their communities to access medical care. Saratu Habu is one of them.
Everything is cheap here and they access good services. We enjoy it.
Many of the primary healthcare facilities we visited, the story is the same. The patients say they are more comfortable here because the environment has changed and the necessary medical equipment are available. But the number of medical personnel who attends to them in some of these primary healthcare centers should be increased. Hamza Ikara is the Director of Disease Control in the State Primary Healthcare Agency.
Best healthcare provision fund, which is initiated by the federal government under the 1% consolidated revenue, the state has helped us a lot on providing and upgrading the special care given to our primary healthcare facility.
The Kaduna State Contributory Health Management Authority is one of the agencies of government in the state responsible of ensuring that the state government has met the target of universal health coverage to ensure every individual in the state access healthcare without any financial difficulties. The authority has so far enrolled thousands of people in the state.
We're doing all of this so that we can ensure that that hardship we're talking about, and that is the concept of universal health coverage. How do you reduce the level of hardship that people go through?
Apart from the insurance scheme and upgrade of the health facilities, most of these primary healthcare centers are provided with 24-hour solar power supply for an uninterrupted services to the people. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
And ensuring an effective, affordable and accessible healthcare delivery system remains one of the cardinal objectives of the federal government, resulting in the setting up of the primary healthcare system. Gabriel Amunike, who monitored the level of success achieved in River States, brings us a report on the impact of federal government intervention in the primary healthcare sector.
Primary healthcare allows for a system that supports people's health needs and provides palliative care to individuals within their communities. Although efforts have constantly been made by the federal government to support primary healthcare delivery, our visit to some locations in Alo and Rumekene shows that a lot more still needs to be done.
So what the government should do is to look for a way and equip the health centers, train more doctors, train more nurses and other health workers to form a formidable medical team.
Although the situation was different at the Rumeme Primary Healthcare Center, support from the River State government has contributed largely to the quality of services being rendered.
River State government partner with federal to champion the affairs of the primary need of the people, especially at the local or community level.
They need more hands so that they can really attend to us.
I came early this morning with my daughter to see the doctor, and they attended to us very well.
In Port Harcourt, Gabriel Amunike.
Now you're welcome back to the conversation segment, and we do sincerely apologize. Senator Ibrahim Olerugbe, Chairman Senate Committee on Health, cannot join us. The bane of technology, the Zoom isn't working well, and we do apologize for that. My guest, Dr. Isaac Ogboja, public health specialist, is still seated in the studio. Let's go back to the issue of personnel for primary health care. And I know that the issue of brain drain has really affected the health sector in Nigeria, the JAPA syndrome that I know as we call it. How is it affecting primary health care in Nigeria?
Well, we talked earlier about manning the primary healthcare centers. There's no use building a structure if nobody is there to give the services or render the services. In an ideal primary healthcare or comprehensive primary healthcare center, there should be at least a doctor and a good number of nurses, laboratory personnel, pharmacists, so that each person will be rendering his or her own part of the service. But at the moment, we have very few number of health centers that have doctors attending to patients there. And recently, unfortunately, many young Nigerian doctors are leaving the country for greener pastures, and therefore what we already had as a problem has now increased rather than decreasing. And this is rather unfortunate because this is the time when we are working towards universal coverage of healthcare around the country. And this is not the time for us to lose trained doctors to other places. Normally, because of the lack of infrastructure in rural areas, many health personnel are not comfortable working there, and therefore when they are posted by states or by local governments, they are reluctant to go there. And we are preaching to people that, first of all, at the government level, to try to make the services there attractive so that doctors and nurses will be willing to go there. And when we are working on that, people are leaving the country, nurses are also leaving the country. It compounds the problem that we have at hand.
Okay, talking about revitalization, it is not just only about infrastructure, it also includes the right equipment, medicine, water, electricity, health personnel, and housing to provide 24-hour services to the people. Do all this exist now with the revitalization of the primary healthcare system?
Certainly not. That's exactly what I just said. In terms of infrastructure, we don't have enough. In terms of personnel, we don't have enough. In terms of equipment, we don't have enough. In terms of drugs, we don't have enough. You recall that some years back, we even started what we called the drug revolving scheme, meaning that you supply a certain quantity of drugs to a particular health center, they dispense them to their patients, collect money from them, use the money to buy other drugs so that there's always drug available in their pharmacy.
Okay, quickly before we go, what does the primary health care need to receive the attention of, from the stakeholders, both the private sector and the public sector, quickly before we're running out of time?
Functionality. They need to be functional and effective. The moment they are effective and they are functional, affordable, accessible, people will patronize them and people will be encouraged to support them.
So we've been able, through this, the revitalization of the primary health care, to achieve the development goal here in Nigeria. Is that a possibility that we have achieved it? The SDG development goal?
Yes, for us to achieve the goals, there needs to be a lot more primary health care centers, and we need to train more people to man them. We need to equip them. We need to provide them not only with equipment but also with drugs, so that these services are accessible and affordable to those who need them.
Okay, Dr. Isaac Abuja, public health specialist, thank you so much for coming on Weekend File. It's been a pleasure having you.
My pleasure. Have a great evening.
We'll take another break now. When we return, we'll begin to round up.
Helen Paul!
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I have been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To disinfect your toilet, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains removal. Harpic sticker formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning.
Wow! Now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah!
The next house is yours.
A body has been found, possibly a child.
I think I have something.
I think it's another ritual murder.
Stop!
Hold on. That's the car we saw this morning.
So what do we know about these so-called senior cult members?
It appears their real strength lies in their members now in government, judiciary, business, and the police.
Now this is getting interesting.
REFARM is the umbrella association of the over 12 million Nigerian rice farmers. Through the administration of good and quality extension services, the Nigerian rice farmer has imbibed good agronomic practices, as a result of which the average yield per hectare, which used to be 1 ton as at 2015, is today 5 metric tons. This has resulted to the increase of the national production from 3 million per annum to 9 million tons per annum. As a result of this, today Nigeria is the largest producer of rice in Africa. Since the beginning of 2015, or the beginning of Ankobora program, Nigeria has officially not imported any rice into the country. All these successes could not have been achieved without the political will of Mr. President.
They are the drama queens of Abuja.
If you're not real, you will be consumed, okay?
Calling me Mom Joe.
We have an intruder in the house. The meter of the disgrace is rising. You're old.
Who started the deliverance? Ha! Deliverance!
It wasn't me. She got me on the Wasn't me. Alpha told me I started for a child. No.
The Real Housewives of Abuja, only on Showmax.
To watch this and other Showmax originals, simply add Showmax to your DSTV subscription using the My DSTV app.
And Sport Update is next.